Alright, here's a video by Dennis Prager on the question of whether or not Hitler was left-wing or right-wing. In it, he tries to make the case that Hitler was, at least in some sense, left-wing. The problem with this is the fact that, let's be real, he is just quite wrong. Hitler was not a left-winger by any stretch of the imagination. Now, here, I just want you to listen to the argument that he utilizes to try to make this ridiculous case.
Dennis, I'd like your perspective on whether you think Hitler was far right or was actually a far left ideologue. Okay, thank you for your time. I enjoy listening to Fireside Chat every week. All the best. Thank you. Hitler was left-wing in that he believed in socialism. Remember, Nazism is National Socialism. Very few people know that, especially if you go to college where you don't learn much. But that is what Nazism stands for, National Socialism. In that sense, it was left-wing.
And right off the bat, the problem with his argument is the fact that Hitler was not actually a socialist at all. Not in any meaningful way. I mean, Hitler, and well, largely the Nazi Party, was a propagandist through and through. And furthermore, he was a populist. The Nazi Party took the name National Socialist as a way to gain that sweet political points. That may be hard for you to believe, but I need to make something very clear to you. A lot of people may not know this, but you see, socialism was a fairly popular idea in the 19th century, especially 19th century Europe, especially among the working class. The Nazi Party decided to take advantage of this by utilizing socialist rhetoric to appeal to the working class individuals in Germany. Like, Hitler and the Nazis spoke to very legitimate issues facing the working class, be it the wealth divide, the harsh working conditions, and even the hardships of running a small business. You see a lot of the same rhetoric with the Republicans even nowadays, where the Republicans will try to galvanize their constituents by speaking to the very legitimate economic struggles that their poor constituents were facing. Though the Republicans are perpetuating those problems, again, they try to utilize populist rhetoric to try and gain popularity. Speak to the legitimate issues to make them on your side, to make them want to support you, to make them think that, hey, if I vote for this guy, he's gonna fix all of my problems. And to compound on the fact that the Nazis were using socialist rhetoric to get more support, and coupled with the fact that the Great Depression took a very heavy toll on Germany, and the working class suffered immensely. I mean, at the time of the Wall Street crash, American banks called in all their loans, which inevitably fucked Germany hard. Why? Because those loans pretty much funded the majority of German industry. If you didn't know this, American banks and whatnot were sending financial aid to the Weimar Republic to give their economy a little bit of a boost because they were struggling hardcore. But ever since the Great Depression, American banks said, yeah, fuck you, we want our money. In a nation of over 6 million people, a tenth of them were unemployed. Many were hungry and desperate, and often turned to radical political ideologies like communism as a solution to their problems. And let's not forget the two political parties the Nazis ran against leading up to the 1930s elections. The Social Democratic Party, well, for short, the SPD, and the Communist Party of Germany, for short, the KPD. The SPD was, for all intents and purposes, left-leaning, while the KPD was rather far left in its ideology. Ironically enough, both were informed by Marxist ideals, though the SPD sort of dropped their Marxist advocacies in favor of more center-left social democratic platform. yeah, it's kind of cringe, you know. It's a little cringe, you know. Being a social democrat, not bad, not bad. Just not as radical as I would hope, but it's whatever. It's whatever. It's fine. Oh, and just to drive the point home, um, here's a few excerpts from the KPD's political platform. I'm going to read them out for you. We communists pledge that after overthrowing the power of the capitalists and large landowners after establishing the dictatorship of the proletariat in Germany, we will carry out the proletariat nationalization of banks and cancel all debts to German and foreign capitalists. We will destroy all forms of capitalism in the public sector, seize large holdings of buildings without compensation, and accommodate workers and the urban poor in the homes of the rich. We will cast off the rule of the large landowners, expropriate their land without compensation, and hand it over to the farmers with little land of their own. You get the idea. They were pretty they were pro working class and very anti wealthy niggas. Fuck those wealthy niggas. And also, one important detail can't be stated enough. Communists and socialists were the first group the Nazis put in concentration camps, many of which were part of the KPD and SPD or were simply supporters of these parties. And that's not even getting into the other adjacent groups like trade unionists and such. Now, let's hear another fallacious argument from dear old Dennis.
But it was not left-wing in another sense. The left divided the world by class. That's the classic Marxist division of the world. Class, the proletariat, and the oppressor, if you will. Whereas Hitler divided the world by race. Race is not a left-wing or a right-wing value. It has become a left-wing value in the last 25 years in the West. All of a sudden, race matters incredibly. The left has actually, in some ways, abandoned classic Marxist division by class and now made it by race. But race was neither left nor right until this moment. It is not a right-wing value.
Hey, post-editing Twisty here. When I first heard it, I accidentally misheard Dennis Prager's argument, and when I first heard it, I assumed that he was saying that dividing people by class or race is a left-wing value. I was incorrect in hearing that. What Dennis actually was saying was that, like, the left divides people by class and the right divides people by race or whatever, I guess. Or Hitler divides people by race. Maybe this is a mask-off moment from Dennis, but still. I misheard his argument. I thought he was saying that, like, dividing people, just dividing people by any class, by anything, be it class or race, is inherently a left-wing value. I thought that he was making that argument because I misheard, because he said it was not a left-wing value. But still, his argument is still kind of strange, because the left-wing value is not, quote-unquote, dividing people by class. We're only, the actual left-wing value is pointing out the division that we see, not creating it. We don't divide people, we just point out the division that already exists. That's all there is. So, going forward, I want you to keep in mind that I misheard his argument, but still, what I say going forward is still just objectively correct, because I'm always correct, because I am the best. I'm literally your, I am your God, and you should pray to me every night before you go to sleep. Anyway, that's it for my, ramble. The video will your regularly scheduled program will continue. And here, Dennis showcases his misunderstanding of two basic concepts: the left-wing versus right-wing dichotomy. And the very concept of let me put further emphasis into this. Political analysis. Let's tackle the first part. Dennis accuses the left, the modern left, of dividing everyone by class. What Dennis fails to understand here is that we don't. What Dennis sees as the left, quote unquote, dividing people by class, especially the proletariat versus the bourgeois, it's actually just reading the room. I'm certain even a modern day moderate conservative will agree with me when I say that there is a difference between the wealthy and the unwealthy. There are those who have much and there are those who have little. It's not divisionist to call out the glaring disparities between the groups. It just is what it is. The wealthy have way much disproportionate power over the unwealthy. Workers like, you and me, and when I say you, I'm talking to any conservative working person who happens to be watching this video. Workers like you and me have to shovel shit for a living to earn scraps, while the people who were, lucky enough to be born wealthy to get to live off the fat of the land without having to lift a fucking finger. This is a problem. And how can you solve that problem without analyzing and defining it? There are rich and there are poor. That's not divisionist. That's just calling it, just saying it is what it is. Calling it like it is, That's just how it be. Now let's look at chattel slavery in America. Alright, bear with me. This may seem like a tangent. It may seem like I'm getting to an unrelated topic, but listen, bear with me. Ride this train with me. We're going on a journey, all right? And I promise this journey will take you to a wonderful place. Maybe. So when it comes to chattel slavery in America, there's white and there's black. There's slaves and there's masters. The whites were masters, the blacks were slaves. Blah de blah de blah. You get the idea. You're not 5. You understand what this is. Would it be divisionist for the abolitionists to accurately describe and define this glaring disparity? Please say no. I beg you. I beg you. Please say no. Please say no. I hope we're all on the same page going forward. Okay? Alright? Are all the smart people still watching this video? Alright, cool. Let's go. Alright, mind you, this dichotomy of white versus black was completely made up by slave owners. The definition of white is and was so arbitrary that there were periods in American history where Italians and Irishmen didn't meet that definition, the definition of white. And guess what? They do now. And before you say, but the Democrats were pro-slavery, I need you to understand something. I need you to listen very close. I need you to really get this. Yes, they were. But they were not left-wing. I need you to absorb that for a little bit, because this does lead into my next point. What is left-wing? What is right-wing? Dennis seems to believe that dividing people into classes is a left-wing ideology. Okay. Alright, Dennis. Let's see if that definition holds up to the actual definitions of these two political ideologies. Alright, let's go back to the past. Again, the origin of these two terms, like, left-wing or right-wing, they originated from the French Revolution in 1879. The terms originally referred to the seating arrangements during political meetings. Those who sat on the right side supported King Louis XVI's authority, as well as, a religious authority. Wow, I wonder who that second part sounds like. Those who occupied the left side supported egalitarianism and opposed the king's authoritarian rule. And of course, there were seats in between. There were variations of these opinions. Now, with that in mind, I am going to define left wing and right wing. So here's the definition of right wing. Wikipedia defines it as, and I quote, the range of political ideologies that view certain social orders and hierarchies as inevitable, natural, normal, or desirable, typically supporting the position based on natural law, economics, authority, property, religion, or tradition. Hierarchy and inequality may be seen as a natural result of traditional social differences or competition in market economies. Now, let's get to the definition of left wing. Again, Wikipedia says it defines the range of political ideologies that support and seek to achieve social equality and egalitarianism, often in opposition to social hierarchy or as a whole or certain social hierarchies. Left-wing politics typically involve a concern for those in society whom its adherents perceive as disadvantaged relative to others, as well as a belief that there are unjustified inequalities that need to be reduced or abolished. You may find it rather cringe of me to consult Wikipedia on these definitions, and believe me, I tried to find other sources, but websites like dictionary.com and Webster's were a little too vague and circular for me. Like there was no substantial definitions to draw from. Like look at this example here from right wing. This comes from dictionary.com, I believe. Right wing. First definition: members of a conservative or reactionary political party, or those opposing extensive political reform. Here's the second definition: such a political party or group of such parties. Wow. Thanks. What a very substantial definition. Thank you. Now, when it comes to the definitions that I just laid out for you, I'm gonna break those two down to extremely simple terms. Left wing equals egalitarianism. Right wing equals hierarchy. We all in agreement on that? We're on the same page, right? They match the definition, the long version of the definitions that I laid out, right? Okay? We're on the same page? Okay, cool. Let's go forward. Democrats supported slavery. Slavery is the hierarchy of master over slave. Therefore, the Democrats were right-wing. And still right-wing in certain aspects, even right now. Nazis think Jews are subhuman and grotesque, like literally putting themselves above that group, among other groups like homosexuals and racial minorities and such, and therefore that makes the Nazis right-wing. Dictators like Kim Jong-un, Hitler, Vladimir Putin, Stalin, etc. literally put themselves above the entire population they're in charge of, making themselves the highest authority figure within their hierarchy. Dictators are all, for all intents and purposes, right-wing. Andrew Tate believes he is above all women, and furthermore, seeing himself as superior to those he deems to be beta males. My boy Andrew Tate is right-wing. Of course, this is a spectrum. It's not all black and white. There's a lot of nuance and in-betweens, but I hope I made it very clear to you how the political spectrum is defined. And with that, I leave you with the last of Dennis's incoherent ramblings.
I mean, I live among people on the right. None of them, not one person I know is a racist. They find the idea preposterous.
Just gotta love how we threw that shit in there, right? Alright, to clarify, racism is a right-wing belief. But that doesn't automatically make you a racist if you're a conservative. You can be a conservative or a right winger and like not be racist, or at the very least hateful towards racial minorities. I mean, let's be real. Most of your modern conservatives now are just homophobic and transphobic, though. I mean, and that is a right wing belief.
So it's not right to say that he was right wing, and it's not right to say he was only left wing. He was partially left wing. And by the way, he hated capitalism, hated it. I just read a new biography of Hitler, and that was a major part of the biography, how much the man hated capitalism. That's also not taught in college.
Yes, Hitler hated capitalism so much that he privatized several commercial banks, strongly opposed social welfare, and hated the fact that it supported the degenerates he persecuted, and never once transferred the ownership of the means of production to the workers. Very anti-capitalist, very socialist Hitler was. So that's the end of my response to Dennis Prager's video. Normally this would have been a reaction video, but I wanted to make like a more scripted video to be to serve as an education. I wanted to use Dennis Prager's video as a way to educate people on the political spectrum, because when I saw that little clip that Dennis put out, it bothered me. It bothered me enough to make this video in the first place, because I wanted to make it very clear. I want people to understand that you can't just, you have to know what the hell you're talking about when it comes to defining the political spectrum, because a lot of people, especially conservatives, really don't understand what the political spectrum is, what the difference between left wing and right wing is. Like, they genuinely don't even know what left wing politics is. They think being a left, honestly to God, they really think being a left winger means you support black supremacy or something. Even though black supremacy really is inherently right wing anyway. Like when you see the Nation of Islam and fucking Hoteps and shit, a lot of their talking points are extremely far right. Like, they're just about as far right as Nazis are in terms of their internal ideology. It's baffling to me how a lot of white conservatives, like moderate conservatives, really don't get it. And hell, even some of them will, again, still claim that Nazis were left wing, even though Nazis, modern neo-Nazis right now will straight up tell you, nah, bitch, we're on the right. We fucking hate leftists. Leftists are degenerates. Leftists are a Jewish ideology designed to take away my precious white women. Sorry, not precious white women. Birthing machines. But no, yeah, like I said, right wing, to distill it, it really is just a support of social hierarchy, and not even just a support, like a strong belief in social hierarchy. It's and left wing, like, again, to distill it, is more like about egalitarianism, and it doesn't necessarily have to just be about eradicating hierarchy altogether. More or less just eradicating oppressive hierarchies, unnecessary hierarchies that have no reason to exist. Like me, I am a left winger. I'm far left. I don't really. I'm not against positions of leadership. You know, like if you're let's say like you're in a law firm or whatever. The lawyer that has more experience deserves to be at the top, directing things and being in charge of things, keeping things together, and and there's nothing wrong with that. That is a position of leadership, and it's a position of leadership that person has earned, not just given to him by whatever, not by being lucky enough to be born in the right bloodline, so he's been crowned king. Or, he was just born in a wealthy family, so he just gets to have privilege just because his dad got a lot of wealth that he also inherited from his forefathers, and so on and so forth. that have probably gotten rich off of slave labor. Let's be real. But yeah, me being a left winger, I'm just against hierarchies that have no real utility to them. Like, there's no utility to putting white people over black people. There's no utility to putting like just non-Jews over Jews, and vice versa. There's no hierarchy to putting Israelis over Palestinians, and so on and so forth. It's I think positions of leadership and power should be earned and also not last forever. But that's just me. If I go any further, I'll be rambling. But I will leave you with this. You really, it's wise on your part to understand what these political ideologies are and what they mean before you speak about them. Educate yourselves. Do some research. Try to learn a little bit. I mean, I understand it's hard to do that now because, you know, a lot of us have to spend time working our asses off to pay the bills, so doing research really isn't a privilege that everyone has. And that's understandable. But I can't stress this enough. If you're not going to take the time to educate yourselves on these subjects, I would highly advise you not speak out of your ass when it comes to talking about these subjects. And if you do, and someone tries to correct you on them, listen to them. And if you don't want to take their word for it, you know, take a little bit of time, just a little bit of time to do just a wee bit of research, just a little bit. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's not gonna take a lot of time out of your day. It's not gonna ruin your life. It's not a bad thing to educate yourselves on these things. It's fine. It's fine. I work, and I live in a household with 3 incomes, but I work, and I get tired when I come home from work, but sometimes I sit down and try to learn. Be willing to learn. Be open-minded. Try to understand these things and understand why you support the things that you support, and blah blah blah. Anyway, that is it for my end video ramble. I'll catch y'all later. See you in the next video, which may or may not be a reaction video, which, let's be real, is probably the majority of the content that I make, so it probably will be a reaction video. So yeah, I'll catch y'all later. Peace.
I have a joke for you. What is a skeleton's favorite snack?
I don't know.
Go on, guess.
Death?
No. Go on, guess.
Oh, no.
Come on. Guess. Why are you laughing? I haven't told the punchline yet. What is a skeleton's favorite snack? Guess.
You're putting me in a lot of pressure.
Guess. Fuck. Guess. Guess, goddamn you. Why won't you answer me? What is my favorite snack?
Bones?
No! No!
See, this is not...
What is it? Why must you fail me so often? Ribs! Spare ribs! Fuck!